Hello everyone. My name is Dimitri, and today we are going to talk about ICS, which is the Incident Command System. So ICS is an organizational model that was created in the late 60s, I believe in Arizona, to address incidents such as fire and big fire, white fire. And it has been implemented actually across the country in the United States since then, and it's used to manage incidents such as major flooding, earthquake. But in fact, it's an organizational model, so you could argue that you can actually use the system to organize your wedding if you want. So let's look at a few resources online, and this is an introduction to ICS. I'm not going to teach you about ICS in details here. The purpose of this series of video is to then walk you through this game which I invented, which is a board game to teach you how to be the leaders in the ICS system, in the incident command system. So there's a bunch of stuff on Wikipedia, so you can look at that, obviously on a separate when you have time. So it will make reference to the history, the different basics about it. FEMA, as I said, has actually developed a lot of resources regarding ICS. So there's a whole page created by FEMA that you can have a look at. And there's a pretty extensive resource center as well, where you have a bunch of different training programs and courses. A number of them are online, ICS 100, for instance, and ICS 200. I think it's 2 hours and 3 hours. And they're pretty straightforward. They're actually very well organized, and you get a certificate at the end. So even if you studied ICS as part of a CERT program, a community emergency response team, which is what I did, there's a lot of value into looking at those training courses. So as a transition, just to summarize very briefly, so the incident command system is represented here on this slide. There's an incident commander, which really is the person that define the objectives and the priorities when addressing an incident, or more generally when running a project. You have operations, which is led by the chief of operations, and these are really the doers, the people that are going to be on the field, the firemen attacking the fire, or the people in the community trying to go from house to house to find if there are victims of flooding or an earthquake. There is a planning segment in ICS as well, which really looks at the big picture, the strategy, and actually more importantly, make sure that everything that the incident commander and the operation chiefs are doing is documented, that people are accounted for, and that we know where we are. Finally, there's a logistic unit. Actually, not finally, but third, there's a logistic unit. Logistics is really managing people, personnel, equipment and supply, maintaining inventory list, and also sending people to find some resources. Some resources are needed. So finally, as I said, there is actually one more person, a safety officer, which is responsible for the safety of everybody. Each of these leaders might have a scribe, somebody helping them. So in the game that we're going to talk about, again, which I've called ICSLand, we're going to be looking at the incident commander and his scribe, the chief of operation and his scribe, the chief of planning and his scribe, and the chief of logistics and his scribe, as well as the safety officer. So we'll have 9 people on the board, and we'll use a scenario to simulate an event, and we will see it really helps you understand how the management team should function for the ICS element. So that's the quick introduction. I'm going to pause here and I'm going to switch to a different camera setting to unbox the game and show you how the board works and how to play that game.